little bit more aggressive out of the jungler, because TL is all early game here, basically. It's Taric, Kalista, Zoe, Rek'Sai, and Renekton. Trundle might have a hard time trying to keep up and control that. Yeah.
Now that the Renekton's locked in, that Trundle pick looks really
We'll have to see how it all plays out once we get into the game itself. But either way, like we said, big games for both of these teams. Team Liquid looking to put together a 2-0, or as Crumbs mentioned, maybe a 3-0 weekend, including a tiebreaker to sneak into playoffs and defend their championship. On the flip side, FlyQuest, who at one point was being touted as the true contender to Cloud9, has struggled recently, brought Solo in though, and are really looking to see if he can be kind of the glue that brings together the final product of FlyQuest moving into the postseason. Any final thoughts from any of you gentlemen before we head into our 5-minute competitive integrity break?
I love the spiciness of TL games. That's basically it. Just the fact that there's a chance they miss playoffs after winning 4 splits in a row is just too much. Every game is enthralling.
All right, well, there you have it. The enthralling game is 5 minutes away. We are heading to that competitive integrity break by adding a delay to the game, so we will meet you back here in 5-ish minutes for game number 3. See you then.
I can't talk.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. LCS is here, and I'm glad to be back alongside the guy that way. Hopefully, I guessed correctly. It's Azael.
You did guess correctly. Good job. I'm proud of you. It's a good start.
It's a great start. So, yeah, I mean, exciting day, obviously. We are in the last week of the LCS regular season. We are no closer to knowing which teams make it in the playoffs, because almost every game we could have had so far could have locked a team in or out of playoffs, and it hasn't gone that way yet, so we still don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy that we are this far in and only one team has still locked. I feel like traditionally going into week 9, a lot of it is already kind of locked down. Maybe you're playing for a spot or two at the bottom. We still don't even know who's second place, right? There's these bunch of teams have 9 wins, and now 100 Thieves is one of them, up there with FlyQuest, TSM, EG, all these teams sitting at 9, Immortals just behind them at 8, and then TL at 7, hoping that they can do something miraculous this weekend and catch up, but it'll also require some of these teams to drop some games.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. I know TL, it's going to be hard for them. They've got by far the hardest strength of schedule. They're playing the teams that are literally right now number 1 and 2 in the standings. They have to at least do one game better than Immortals and or 100 Thieves to have a chance at getting in. Even then, there's the tiebreak scenarios afterwards. So, I mean, that is tough for them. That's one of the things that I know the analyst was talking about coming in to Champ Select and getting ready for the game, was just like, how does your 4-time defending champion, who only switched one player out, and it should have been probably an upgrade, how are you still in the situation 16 games in, and no one is willing to count them out until it actually happens? Like, if this was 100 Thieves sitting at 7-9, be like, yeah, it's 100 Thieves, we saw this coming, yeah, they're alive, but whatever. But for Liquid, it's like, no. But, like, they could clearly go 2-0 here.
Yeah, I mean, they can if they show us the level that they have over the last 2 years. But if they're showing us the level that they have demonstrated throughout this split, I don't think it's reasonable to expect them to go 2-0, right? FlyQuest, I think, is the more reasonable expectation for a win, as yes, they are second, but it is a 4-way tie for second, right? And they're significantly behind first. So it's kind of this mishmash between second and fifth, right? And I think that is achievable. Obviously, FlyQuest could take them down also, but especially after how good Cloud9 looked today. I mean, they just dominated EG, who has been looking better than TL in recent weeks, and you've got to beat them, right? C9 is basically taking every single team down in 30 minutes, barring that one TSM loss that they had. So TL has their work cut out for them, but people do still have that glimmer of hope because they know how good this team can look. They know how good Broxah has been in the past individually, and you're just kind of thinking in the back of your head, if they can ever make it click like they should be able to, then this is a really scary team. And if they can get into the playoffs, whether they're 6th seed, 1st seed, doesn't matter, they are going to be potentially a threat to win.
Yeah, and on the other side, of course, you've got teams that have been looking good. FlyQuest, I think, deserves praise. I mean, it's it's been really entertaining watching FlyQuest for the last year and a half, basically, because they were good in spring, they fell off in summer, they came back this year with an almost entirely new roster, and then you hear the Tree Quest stuff, and people memed on it initially. They were like, okay, wow, you're going to be the Go Green team, like, that's cute and everything, but, like, turns out not only are they great, and PoE's been awesome, but, like, the whole planting trees shtick, like, also awesome as well. So, like, you know, full circle, FlyQuest has been an absolute delight. I expect them to win this game. This would make them the second team to firmly lock a spot in playoffs. Yeah, they might tiebreak for seeding, but they could never finish below 6 at that point. That's hype. Again, it's pretty incredible that you're only lacking your second team with 7 games to play. But end of the day, like, this seems likely for them. I will say they've been on a bit of a slide, much like TL. They have gone 1-3 in their last 4 games. They brought in a new top laner just a week ago. He's playing a bit better than Viper, but he's not like he's a huge all-star by any means. Solo is good, don't get me wrong. It's like, okay, well, sure, it's likely you make playoffs, but can you be in a good enough spot to win?
Yeah, and that's a really tough question, I think, for pretty much everyone right now. Yes, TSM did take a game off C9, but I mean, they lost 100 Thieves today. C9 has looked so far and above every other team coming into playoffs that I think they are very clearly the heavy favorite, right? So it will be interesting. And I mean, as far as who you're expecting to actually win this game, you may think, all right, FlyQuest, you're going to do it based on the previous success in this split, but not much has really been going to chalk lately. When you look at a lot of these matches, FlyQuest had an opportunity to win 10 games last week. Weren't able to do it. TSM were favored against 100 Thieves today. Weren't able to get their 10th win. EG, obviously, they are going to have their opportunities to get 10 still later this week, but no one has been able to do it, right? It's like, what, 3 games in a row now that a team had a chance to get to 10 and lock and hasn't been able to do it. So we may be heading towards this kind of like insane tiebreaker scenario where you have all these teams at 9, which would almost be like a playoffs to get into the playoffs.
I mean, sure, there are 256 remaining scenarios left, as there were 1,024 coming in. We've cut that in half twice. And there was one scenario where there's 6 tiebreaker games and 2 scenarios where there are 7 tiebreaker games. That adds up to over 1%, and those are odds that, I can appreciate. I mean, it's interesting, like the chances here, like there's more chance of 5 or more games than of 0 games for tiebreakers. So we are, I think, likely to have an extended scenario here in the LCS. We'll play them either at the end of tomorrow or I think Monday, based on how many there are to play. Regardless, though, that seems that it's going to be an exciting one to watch, absolutely. Do want to point out real quick, we're about 2 minutes away from the game actually starting. We had a pause on Jensen's end that has been resolved. We are building up that 5-minute gameplay buffer for competitive integrity. So once we get that 5-minute buffer, without any more pauses, we'll get into the game and we will happily cast and not talk your collective ears off anymore. If you want to follow up those playoff scenarios, by the way, with us, at lolesports stats on Twitter has a bunch of stuff for you out there. I assume there's a link to the Foley sheet as well.
There is.
That is what I'm using to follow on along with. It is supremely useful.
Yeah, the Foley sheet's a lot of fun, just being able to kind of track through the scenarios. Sometimes it's a bit overwhelming looking at just how many there are, but it is kind of fun to see where the scenarios are heading towards. And you can also kind of really get an idea of which games are the most important as far as having the biggest playoff implications. This, of course, being one of the really big ones. Immortals to play still, that's also going to be incredibly important for a lot of these playoff scenarios. And it looks like we are finally into game here. FlyQuest and Liquid trying to keep those playoff hopes alive, and FlyQuest looking to lock in a playoff spot.
All right, we are onto the Rift. I'm excited to cast more LCS. It's going to be a fun one here. As we can see, the Summoners taking to the stage. Those actually don't exist anymore. The Champions taking to the stage. They will battle back and forth. We'll see who can get the better of this one as we wait to find out. Do want to say, I'm personally not a big fan of tank sports that have AP ratios that matter taking the attack damage relic shield version. It certainly can matter in a fight if you're stuck in an all-in, battling back and forth. That's relevant, but I'm a fan of the healing being stronger personally.
Yeah, I think the AP one is generally better in those scenarios. I think sometimes people just autopilot and aren't even really thinking about it, to be honest with you, because I mean, early levels, the AD I think matters more, you know, where those support auto attacks can be pretty important. But generally speaking, having the AP is going to be more useful for increased healing, but also for damage on things like Dazzle.
Yeah, well, this is one thing that I know Kobe talked about when he was casting. I got to look up solo queue win rate data, and starting out with the shoulder guards, the steel shoulder guards is actually 1% higher win rate build. It is built 1/10 as often as Relic Shield, but it is, for solo queue data, which grain of salt, don't get me wrong, a more winning starting item.
Yeah, it's interesting at least to know. And as you say, you know, solo queue obviously different than pro. Pro players are better at making use of the advantages that they itemize for, generally speaking. It's also worth noting that this is actually Aftershock Taric, which I think is pretty atypical. Generally, you will just see Guardian. It's kind of more easy to apply, fairly consistent. Aftershock is nice, but it can be very difficult to actually land that stun at times. But Impact going to get level 1 gank here.
Yeah, not a lot of escape tools here. Santorin's there, and Impact's on the wrong side of his turret. And a 67% first blood rate comes in for Solo. Thanks to Santorin getting the gank off. There's the Aftershock. There's the bot lane fight. IgNar, though, has the E to kite away.
Yeah, that's rough for Impact. He was still level 1 there. Obviously didn't have his E to dash away. And I think intelligently just holding on to that flash, but pretty hard to expect Trundle to go red straight to top with a gank like that. Not very common at all, and that's what kind of makes it a pretty smart path from Santorin. So gonna be able to grab an easy first blood on Impact and set him back a little bit in that matchup. He has to use his TP without really any buy whatsoever.
Yeah, he gets a control ward and some spare health potions, so we can maybe watch that gank come in the second time. Broxah, that will make good on what happened here, knows what the level lead he got from the extra camp, comes down, takes the Raptors. That is farm that Trundle will not easily acquire back for himself, so we can see this pay forward. For now, obviously, it will be the gold lead for FlyQuest, and that will be positive.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much they can take. Because it looks like they're going to try to go for a dive here on this bottom side. Jensen roaming down. It will be the 4v2, but both the FlyQuest members are level 3, and with Dazzle missing, it's not going to be worth a try. So Broxah will just try to steal away the Krugs here, taking 2 of those camps away from Santorin, who was spotted to get on the top side. And when he resets on this map, his whole bottom side jungle is going to be gone, counter jungled. He's going to lose the bottom scuttle, and he's not really going to have much to do on the map for really a minute or two there.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 minutes since your first camp comes up. We're going to see those Krugs disappear. There's going to be that one small chicken delaying the respawn. You're seeing the missing pings come in from FlyQuest to figure out, okay, exactly what has been taken away right now. For now, the jungles are equal on camps, but there is a lot more left up for Broxah to farm. Again, we're expecting in the middle run that this will actually work out well. Bottom scuttle is taken, equalized, buffed camp count. And we'll see, does Trundle get anything down at this bottom side of the map as summoners are up on all sides. IgNar walks in, finds a single knockup. CoreJJ with a pillar enough to burn his own flash, get away, can't find the stun, doesn't burn it. Double flash down, plus the summoner heal burn for the gank.
Yeah, CoreJJ can't land the stun, so he doesn't get Aftershock. They have to blow 3 summoners, and I've got to say, that's a gank you should be expecting. You know your junglers took away all his camps. There's nothing for Trundle to do except gank, so what are you expecting him to do? He just reset from top side of the map. He's clearly going to go bot side and check those camps. They're not going to be there, and then he's going to gank. So DoubleLift and CoreJJ, I think a little bit of sleep at the wheel to be, you know, so easily ganked in that scenario, and it's pretty expensive there, as they're going to have to blow 3 summoners to get away.
Well, such is the life right now as we have a 400 gold difference, and I'm going to keep checking in on the jungle matchup because, again, it's 2 ganks, both of which have been absolutely phenomenal for Santorin, and Broxah has gotten a small camp lead, but Solo about to chop down Impact, the solo kill after the first gank came through. Beautifully done.
Yeah, that is huge for Solo, especially because Impact has no teleport, so he's going to lose a lot of these minions to the tower. Solo will get a much better buy. We'll be able to full reset this wave and just walk back with the minions pushing out towards him and a significant item advantage.
No, FlyQuest might be the second team, obviously, to lock a spot in play after the game starting this well. It's top difference, started by a jungle gank. Bottom difference, there is a farm lead for Team Liquid down there, but a summoner deficit could mean a repeat gank could work out. Broxah only has a camp and a half lead to show for it.
Yeah, Broxah, not that far ahead. We'll see if he can get anything going with this experience advantage. He is obviously playing a strong early jungler, but Broxah has had, I think, a lot less early game impact than people were expecting with him coming over. There was a lot of talk about this Jensen Broxah combo that people were thinking this is going to be the focus, right? This is going to be the strategy that you will be employing, bringing in Broxah, who is this great early game jungler for Fnatic, and utilizing him and Jensen to really fight around this mid jungle 2v2 very heavily. But for the most part, Broxah has been extremely passive. He's been more of the kind of defensive jungler, even on some of these aggressive picks. He seems pretty happy to just kind of sit back and farm.
And again, the battle on the top side. Both players have ultimates, but Solo clearly getting the better of most of these trades. He chunks down the wave. This will be still a 9 CS lead, even if Renekton gets all of it, as double redemption from minions have come down for Jensen over the last minute and a half. That is a tilter for Pee-wee if he tried to play it aggressively. And the day is just going to trade farm back and forth. These players are going to be almost equal in that regard. So mid lane, not a spot of much interest.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing really about grabbing redemption early in these levels is that it basically gives you a free reset. It does so much damage to the minions that you just drop it on the minions, you paddle star the melees, and you actually just push that out incredibly quickly and allow yourself to just go back to base for a free recall. And that's exactly what Jensen did there. We'll be able to run it back out onto the map, but FlyQuest, they have their mid laner on the map. They have the winning bottom lane right now, so they're going to be able to use that to grab first dragon.
And as we heard the AD talk about, Team Liquid drafted a fairly early game-centric team. The Kalista lane down there, the Renekton up there at the top, but now maybe they can get something going well for the early game. Ult pop by Solo, flashes away, and Broxah not going to quit the flash to follow through. His impact couldn't have gotten in stun range. Flash for a gank.
Yeah, trade of flashes there, not bad from Broxah. We'll see if he can get anything going on a repeat gank, because that alone is not really going to be too much, as Jensen just uses the ultimate to get a bit of a deep ward there relatively safely. PowerOfEvil, though, will be just collecting this blue buff, and we'll see where Santorin wants to go to next, because with it winning topside, they could look to play for Rift Herald. Right now, TL is having to play defensively on the bottom lane. They're down summoners. Their top lane is losing. Mid is about even, so we'll see where Santorin wants to go.
And no ingress points just yet, but looks like the beginning of something maybe in the bottom side of the map. You still know that flashes are down for about 40 seconds. That's pretty easy to time, especially at a pro level. So far, though, nothing really showing up. That gank burned summoners, but it didn't do a whole lot else beyond that. Maybe a little bit of CS gained or dropped because of a more defensive TL bot lane, but ultimately no kill difference, no plate difference. Still 5 up on both sides of mid lane and bot lane. 1 plate claimed by Solo so far. Of course, that Santorin gank helping that a ton. Eye pop yet again, but here we go. 3-on-3 in the top river. IgNar is on the way up, though. He'll be the first support to make it here, has Moby Boots, and the fight begins as Solo pushes Broxah away, gets the flash revenge, and now a pillar is there into the knockup as well. No flash for Jensen, trying to run away, is able to do so. Runs away, burning the heal as well. The eye still picked up by FlyQuest.
Yeah, well done by FlyQuest. They had priority on the top side, like I talked about. Made a lot of sense for them to go for that sort of a move. And honestly, Kalista plus this Taric is not going to be a lane that can really punish WildTurtle on the bottom side. So they know that IgNar is roaming, but what are you actually going to do against this Xayah? He can easily reactively ultimate any sort of stun coming out from CoreJJ, so there's not much chance of actually bursting him down. So all TL will get on the bottom side is just an easy lane reset.
Yeah, like that dive is scary for almost anyone except specifically Xayah, because, Taric leads it up, has the aftershock, you do like 5 seconds of diving, you take 6 turret shots, and then you just Kalista ult him to safety, and if it doesn't quite work out, well, that's okay, you force the recall probably, and you still got a turret plate or something. If it does work out, she's just dead, but you're right. You just drop aggro, and no one's really going to be willing to sit around for 3 seconds waiting for him to land again, so yeah, able to at least clear the first wave, does recall away from the second, but happy enough to keep playing this one out as IgNar is going to be back on this side of the map and ready to keep the pressure going. 900 gold lead for FlyQuest as Solo and Impact once again trade blows.
Yeah, Solo, though, feeling pretty good about this. We'll collect the rest of this wave and going to be up a good 20 CS. There is slight advantages in the bot and mid lane for TL, but Rift Herald going to get dropped mid lane off of the recall from Jensen, and they're going to lose at least 3 plates here. Could even potentially be a fourth, but it looked like Jensen had another redemption to help clear that out.
There's a large number of them. Doesn't, I think, intrinsically kill any of those minions by the time the Herald is gone, but yeah, it does mean that they are all dead to one Paddle Star, though, or one auto attack, and does just barely keep plate number 4 alive, but it still means the gold lead has stretched. 480 gold for a 3-plate take. That is worth an assisted kill in and of itself. It's getting better and better and better here for FlyQuest, as they have managed to keep bot lane at -10 CS for the last 5 minutes straight. The summoner spells are back up for TL, but bots shoved in, and WildTurtle's under really no pressure to have to do anything here except scale.
It'll be interesting to see if TL wants to try to contest this next dragon, if they feel that they're going to be in a strong enough position, because Kalista plus Taric is very, very strong at these early levels. You know, post level 6, the ultimates can be very effective in the team fight. Taric can go in very aggressively, knowing not only does he have the ultimate, but he also has Kalista to pull him out when he does get low. So, you know, these types of team fights could be pretty effective for them if they can set it up well.
Let's see, right now we got 15 seconds about until the Infernal Drake comes up, and see if the setup is going to be any good. First item spikes haven't come through for almost any of the players. Ruin King has come through double. That is a big one. That is a huge pickup there. It's going to be a really, really big team fight damage boosting piece of gear. We got a mallet for solo. That is one thing that Evil Geniuses tried to use and wasn't quite enough there against Cloud9, but we'll see if the mallet will be enough as Solo has it and continues to push in top side. And she's almost to that second plate kill as well. Will he be willing to weather impact there? So far, not really. Mini's doing a little bit of damage there. Two autos will be worth 160 gold. And he's just like, no, there's a chance to get ganked. There's a chance to take damage in a turret. Not worth it there. Bit of poke towards Santorin. Drake is alive now as Jensen tries to wave clear mid lane as PoE shoves it into him.
Yeah, Solo's really just trying to keep impact locked under his turret here. He wants to make it so that he can't actually base and just get an easy teleport down to that bottom side. Or if he does back off, that he's going to lose plates, he's going to lose minions, and you can see Solo pushes it in, and now he's just going to start to move. He's hoping to save his teleport and potentially force a teleport out of impact, but for now, it looks like TL are a little bit slow in this play. The Dragon's already down below half health.
Ooh, but the ult forced out of WildTurtle. They should be able to get this. Broxah over the wall, gets the smite nicely picked up there, and this is maybe a team fight afterwards. Impact could be on his way down, looking for the attempted play. No, he's recalled back, so nowhere near the squad. Still, TL get the smite steal. Nicely done there. Mid lane still has a plate for 8 more seconds. If they can cash in, that is a nice chunk of change. Let's try to knock this one down. They will get first turret gold. They get all 5 plates in mid as well. And the ulti comes to the top. There's a knockup. Jensen with the ult onto him. Barely survives with summoner heal. Just enough health to live. You have to imagine Mercury Treads being a big factor there.
Yeah, Jensen barely able to survive, had the potions running. That's going to help out too. And now WildTurtle doesn't have ultimate, so potentially could be threatened a little bit, but TL not having the confidence to go for it. And a great smite steal from Broxah does get something going, at least for Team Liquid, but losing your mid lane turret off that, you know, they are down significantly at 14 minutes, already a 2,000 gold lead here for FlyQuest, so Team Liquid really, it feels like, struggling to get much going.
Yeah, it's weathering the storm, really. It's, you know, again, as you mentioned, really nice to get that smite that slows things down if you're going to keep losing the early game. Solo's going to get delayed by another 5 minutes. That's obviously a pretty big deal there. But also, you kind of look at some of the individual matchups. Like, okay, Impact has been able to kind of stay at you know, minus 20-ish. He is bleeding farm once in a while, but he hasn't been bleeding kills, which is pretty important for quite a long time. So somewhat weathering the storm there, although, you know, item specs are coming in. Black Cleaver is done now for Solo. That might change things around. Lane swap coming through for Team Liquid, though. Got to point out that Kalista has come over to the top side of the map. Depending on how quickly they can make this play happen, maybe there's some turret gold to be gained.
Yeah, they're trying to just get Impact away from Solo, I think. You know, with the completed Black Cleaver, they don't want him laning up against that Aatrox right now, so they send Impact down to that bottom side. They have their bot lane up here and can potentially contest at Herald if they want to, knowing that Impact does have his teleport. But, you know, I am concerned for TL as they're looking for a pick here on PowerOfEvil.
PoE gonna get found out. Several stuns are in. They're invulnerable. The ulti does literally nothing to DoubleLift. And a huge pickup there. Team Liquid found the opening setup by Broxah, followed through by the bot lane. Herald likely theirs as well. You can see the rest of FlyQuest retreating to the other side of the map to play for some minion waves. Team Liquid showing signs of life.
Yeah, that is a great pick for them. TL finally getting something going here as PowerOfEvil pretty far up, even with the flash, cannot get over to the wall to escape, so does get locked down and taken out, and that gives TL their first kill of the game and another objective here as Impact walking by IgNar, but IgNar not feeling like Santorin and Solo were close enough to go for the engage. But kind of back to the previous point a little bit is that I don't think that TL can just sit back and outscale with this type of composition. You're playing Renekton, Rek'Sai, Kalista. A lot of these champions do thrive in mid and early game, so they want to be making things happen. They want to be taking these fights and being able to come out on top.
Yep, definitely the case here. You're going to see them able to take down top lane turret. They're shrinking that gold lead down to only 1,300. Right, the kill was 450, the turret was 500. That drops about a third of the gold lead of what it was, as they're going to try to make their way forward. Once again, we can watch that fight around that top river.
Yeah, here it is one more time, and this was really all about the pick, utilizing Broxah to get it in there, and then the Kalista ultimate throwing in CoreJJ, just barely able to connect with the Azael. As CoreJJ's ultimate lands, preventing DoubleLift from getting burst down there, and that is the power of that Kalista, being able to have some more reliable engage and knock up for a champion like Taric, who would normally be completely reliant on his flash to make a play like that.
Yeah, I really do love the synergy, the sort of combo that Taric Kalista does have. One of the big weaknesses of Taric can be you pop the ult but still die. Well, Kalista gets to, of course, handle that one. Taric doesn't get to get into melee range very easily. Kalista handles that one as well. Really does sync up quite nicely. The knockup from the ulti obviously combos well with Azael here as well. So definitely some positive stuff available. Right now, we've got the still sort of same game state. 1,500 gold difference. FlyQuest still ahead right now. Team looking to do their very best to find those openings later on in, right? Again, having to play aggressively in the early game. Otherwise, their playoff hopes diminishing quite heavily. We know they're a game behind playoffs, and tomorrow's opponent is Cloud9. If there is a game you're going to win, it's this one. They've got to make the comeback to do it.
Yeah, we'll see if they're going to be able to pull that off, but it looks like for now they are setting up for a dragon, getting vision in this area. First team to kind of make that move to set up around this dragon area, and I do think when you are playing one of these more early style mid-game type teams, stacking objectives, stacking dragons is a good way to secure your late game, especially knowing that it could potentially be pretty useful later on for engages, things like Taric dropping the ultimate and Jensen able to bounce around. But FlyQuest on multiple sides, and IgNar has a great potential flank here.
How many does he charm? How many does he knock up? Impact Pop still goes for the first half of the team fight. He's going to be tanky for a while, but the re-engage is far too fast. The Taric came down long after he was consigned to death. That is a nice pickup there. Jungler is still available. Broxah can go for a steal. He got it last time around. Cloud Drake, though, gonna get dropped down quickly. Broxah might tunnel in. We're trying to mark him. Solo's gonna spot out where he is, noticing that brush. And this time around, there will not be a chance at a steal. The smite comes in a little late. Doesn't even have smite, actually. Just autos it down, and that is cleanly picked up. FlyQuest get Drake number 2.
Yeah, well done by FlyQuest. I think there was pretty much no chance of a re-engage from TL, as Syndra still had all, Rakan still had all, Xayah still had all. Like, there was nothing really that they even forced, right? And I think that is one of the biggest deals in that team fight, is that Impact pretty much just went down almost for free, and FlyQuest, they knew that they had an easy turn with the Rakan ult if Broxah tried to look for something.
Ooh, there was almost a moment there. The Sentinel came down, did spot IgNar at the very last second, but no CC to be had. We saw Broxah was lurking behind the turret in case there was a dive to be had either way. Didn't happen there. We go back to regular lanes. 40 CS lead now for Solo. So I mentioned Impact was holding on pretty well before. That is no longer happening. This lead is growing rapidly in the top side. Shout out to Santorin, but Solo doing the rest by himself. Absolutely slaughtering this top lane matchup.
Yeah, he is getting very far ahead. Solo has been pretty impressive so far in his return. I think has been turning in some pretty solid performance and has looked like an upgrade over Viper.
Yeah, he is a first blood king of top lane. Now, asterisk, only 3 games played. I understand that. But no other player has even 50% first blood rate. Solo, 2 out of 3. Killer assists combined, 2 out of 3. So, he has been getting help from Santorin. Like, that doesn't, that's not always solo kills. But he's clearly able to set up his lane in a spot where that kill comes through first.
And this is very interesting itemization for CoreJJ. I can't even remember the name of that item because no one ever builds it. I thought he was going for
Shirelia's Reveries.
yeah, Shirelia's for the speed up here. So very much so about the engage, about being able to get in there and actually land the dazzle on someone, but is caught out and has to force his flash here. And thus far, the Aftershock, it is a minor thing, but it really hasn't felt like it paid off. I think it's been procced one time this game. Dazzle is just such an unreliable stun unless someone can set it up for you.
Ooh, sweeper. Great pillar stops it out there. The Shirelia's was popped, gave the entire team move speed, so Brock could try to catch, Core could try to catch. Wasn't enough to happen, though. Great disengage pillar for Santorin. Keeps the squad alive. It means he still sit at a 3,000 gold difference, 7.5 minutes away from Cloud Soul.
And that pillar is going to be a really big deal going forward in this game, because a lot of how you deal with the Taric ultimate is disengage, wait it out, and then re-engage. And pillar is really going to be one of their biggest tools to do that. When you see them popping the Taric ult, you pillar out their carries, you kite back, and you just wait for that to expire, and then look potentially to re-engage with something like IgNar's ultimate, or maybe even a Scatter the Weak.
Well, that's tough then, because it's one more tool that TL has to deal with when they try to make their play. They've got to do it somewhat desperately a lot of the times. They're behind in gold, behind in items, behind in levels. Top lane -1, mid lane equal, bot lane equal. Support, actually, gotta say, CoreJJ up in experience over IgNar, so he's been able to at least keep the levels going. I would argue top lane levels mean more, personally, but it is what it is.
It's something. It's a moral victory.
It's a moral victory. Your support's out leveling him. We're ready to go.
Ping that level. We're scaling.
We're scaling. I mean, at least Taric does. I would argue Taric does pretty well in a longer game, but the rest of the comp, not the way I'm feeling that one. So, I do like the, scenario where we go 35 minutes and we're fighting over like the 7th Drake of the game. That's going to feel FlyQuest favored to me in a lot of cases, unless the gold is massively different. DoubleLift, ooh, just didn't have the damage to kill that poor old Gromp.
It can be difficult for a champion like Kalista against a lot of these champions on FlyQuest team, because you are relatively short range. So if you're not really ahead and very durable to the point where you can kind of just mix it up with everyone, you step forward, you get just Syndra ulted plus a little bit more damage on top, and you're very likely to just get burst down. You do not have the ability to kind of just sit back and poke away from range. So you really have to get to a point where you're fairly tanky, and he's kind of a couple items away from that.
Yep, well, we got another attempt right now. It's going to be a dog pile onto Solo. That is an easy stun to land. Afterwards, Jensen claims the kill. And Solo gets his first death of the game. Team Liquid's second kill on the board. They are finding these occasional moments. Well done to them, and it's actually at a pretty good time. Next Drake spawns in 15 seconds. Solo will not be here for it.
Yeah, that's actually a really big deal. This should be TL grabbing the next dragon, and DoubleLift and Jensen played that very, very well. Jensen's slowing him down, catching him out, and then immediately stopping his auto so that the sleep bubble would last maximum duration, and the rest of the TL team could catch up and set up for that eventual kill. So very well comboed, and an important kill as they are looking on this top side for a potential dive on Impact.
And without the minions, are they willing to do it? Turtle's going to walk in for damage, finds the root, and takes a quick Guardian Shield, but otherwise not much else done here. As they knew TL was mostly bottom side. They see DoubleLift pushing. They know Drake's being killed. They try for a play top side. Good win for Impact, keeps him alive, but that turret is still under fire. Suddenly, 3 members top side. Still keep in mind, though, Team Liquid got 2 bottom turrets and this Drake off the kill. So that last bit of play, really good for them.
And critically, both of those towers were solo gold for DoubleLift. So that's actually a really big deal, getting this Kalista going. Like I was saying, to succeed as a Kalista against a comp like this, you have got to get pretty tanky. You've got to be able to really kind of play the game from ahead so that you can withstand things like the Syndra ultimate and like these types of engages. Obviously, part of that responsibility is also put on the shoulders of CoreJJ, who has to help you out. But that series of plays gets him a BF sword and a QSS, so he likely will be working towards a Bloodthirster now, and really starting to kind of increase just how durable he can get.
Yeah, gotta say it's very important to get a Null Magic Mantle somewhere in the build when you're against double flat pen. Around this point in the game, Mage with those 2 items, with an Oblivion Orb plus and Sork Shoes, that is true damage on any conventional AD carry. So I think it's important you get that item. It's maximally efficient in that scenario. So correct to buy that one. Yeah, QSS, you're paying just for the cleanse at that point, but at least little magic, very, very effective. Obviously going to try to get away from Rakan with that cleanse. And yeah, the BT shield obviously going to be quite good as well.
Yeah, it is interesting, just kind of the thought process between do you go QSS or do you go something like a Hex Drinker, and he will be able to cleanse out of, say, a Scatter the Weak or things like that. And I think this is just DoubleLift saying that his mobility is his defense, and CoreJJ, though, may be caught.
His defense is also DoubleLift's mobilities. He throws him right back in. Turtle's going to land and keep 3 people invulnerable, and that is the disengagement.
Solo's in it.
Right back in. Solo finds a knock at the feathers. Not going to find a target yet, though. No roots coming in. There's no trees to be had as Solo tries to walk in, but he's running low on health. Flashes him for the knockup. The follow-through not going to be there just yet. WildTurtle flashes in. That's how you press the button, my dude. Broxah.
Here's Impact.
Away. Huge stun from CoreJJ. Sets up one for Jensen. Impact in the backline finds yet another. Then Jensen is flashing forward, trying to find his next play. Santorin forced one away. PoE finds a stun, but he's going to get stunned away. No, just barely flashed out from that one now as well. And a pillar disengages Impact, but a fight won by Team Liquid. They take 3 kills and lose only 1.
That was such a close fight. Very scrappy, back and forth. CoreJJ barely able to survive with DoubleLift pulling him out of there using the Kalista ultimate. So let's watch this one more time. FlyQuest does decide to engage on the CoreJJ. They want to burst him down before he can get the ultimate off, but they didn't know DoubleLift was there. DoubleLift is able to pull him out. He lands the Taric ultimate, but they are having to disengage as Solo is right on top of the team. But DoubleLift able to hop over the wall. Jensen using that spell thief for the additional move speed to kite out. And then Impact here is threatening the flank. He gets past PowerOfEvil, and as all of FlyQuest group up, CoreJJ sees the opportunity, flashing in, lands the 3-man stun, allowing Impact to clean up another kill, and for TL to win out on this fight. And that Scatter the Weak there was very good from PowerOfEvil. Helped disengage the chase, but still, TL gonna be pretty happy about that fight. Back out on the map, grab the mid lane turret, and they are now within striking distance in this game. 2 dragons apiece. Gold only down 1K.
Yeah, really huge stuff. What an amazing team fight. They've tied up the turret score. They've more than tied up the kill score here as well. We know the Drakes are already 1-1. The uncontested Cloud Drake from before, the Infernal Steel from before, and you imagine in part of this game, right, like how much of FlyQuest are kicking themselves, even just looking at that first Drake steal. You'd be on soul point right now where you're like, hey, one good team fight, and we've got this, 80% win condition at that point once you're at soul. And it's like, well, nope, that's not really the easy play either. TL may have turned the corner. Still some concern over their scaling. I think that can still be difficult, especially when you look at the build Broxah has, right? Its second offensive item in Black Cleaver. There is certainly enough of a front line, but again, you're just not accomplishing a lot in a late game Rek'Sai scenario many times through. So we'll see if TL can make it happen, but they have made good strides in the last 8 minutes or so.
They really have, and I think it's going to come down to how well can you get a committed engage when you're popping that Taric ultimate. Because if you use the Taric ultimate and FlyQuest disengages it, or you're having to use it to run away, then it's much more difficult. Something like this full damage Rek'Sai, though, if Rek'Sai is burrowing in on a carry with Dazzle, and Bastion, stunning them up, and then is Taric ulted and immune while, kind of free damaging a carry, then all of a sudden that jungler can be pretty threatening. So a lot of it really is going to come down to how well CoreJJ can play in these fights.
Oh, okay. Another pillar comes in. They're going to find CC. Jensen does have his flash, is forced to burn it. Knock up on a Broxah. And a team split up, I think, generally favors FlyQuest a little bit here as Taric can't get too many targets. But it's the kind of the 2-on-2 and the 3-on-3. They're going to fight for ward control. We know this Drake is alive. Solo pushes in mid, but has to stop to turn around for this team fight as DoubleLift is starting it. Now keep in mind, stealing from Rend is not easy to do, so if TL gets the free hit, that Drake is almost a formality. Santorin walks in.
IgNar flanking.
Takes the stun, go for the play, and CoreJJ not pulled back in just yet. Just yoinked away, 1200 HP on the Drake. Looking at the side of the fight once again, though. The pillar is in. Santorin's going to grab the spike and run away for dear life. Will be traded back, though. CoreJJ stays alive. Gets a 3-man ulti off now as well. Impacts are waiting in the wings. Knock up there from IgNar. They're going to knock down DoubleLift. Is there a chase down for Solo? Summoner heal comes out. Can't find the knock up yet on a CoreJJ. But the next Q is going to come out at max range. That's going to be the first knock up. That's the attack coming through as well. Core is not going to live. And it's a 2-for-1 to FlyQuest. Plus the Drake picked up. That is huge for them. Broxah waiting in the wings. Can he find an assassination? Q into ult would be a kill. If he knows, If he wants to ult, that could have been a kill on IgNar, but seems a bit risky to give your life away for that, and he won't do it.
Yeah, and Turtle still has heal, so it's hard to know if it would have even been guaranteed with potential shielding coming in from IgNar. But this fight, one more time, TL just not able to quite focus Santorin down before actually he's able to smite away the dragon. And Impact is hitting the dragon for quite a bit of time here. They got it pretty low also from hurricane bolts and things like this. So as that dragon just gets lower and lower, PowerOfEvil turns to hit it and bursts it in range of Santorin's smite. So very well handled there by FlyQuest. And with the dragon secured, yes, Santorin does go down, but IgNar still had his engage available. Taric ultimate was already gone, so they can pile in on top of DoubleLift and take him out. Jensen on the side here, just barely not enough damage to actually knock down IgNar.
Yeah, really tight timing. We know that kill on Santorin was a single auto attack short. One more Ren Spear would have done him in. Very tight timing there. Managed to get a Stone Plate off at about 1/3 HP. Just given the health he needed. Death Cap, though, now done for PowerOfEvil, and he's a little bit on the hunt right now. You can see Team Liquid kind of forced a bit backwards. A lot of moves to play with the Cloud Rift around this red buff, so kiting back and forth, skill shot dodging, all that can be a little bit nice here. But still, only 1,700 gold separates the teams. Soul point for FlyQuest in 3 minutes. And right now, it's still a very tight game.
These smites have just been such a big deal. You called out that earlier smite steal from Broxah. Now Santorin able to nail this one, so we're kind of back to parity there as I now have freeze.
Yeah, looks like we're back into it. Okay.
We're back?
Yeah. Yep, we're back. And it is still the Baron dance right now. That's what seems to be the situation. 1,300 gold difference. CoreJJ might find himself slowed down. There is the first stun, but DoubleLift will not flinch. He's not going to burn the ulti just yet, and that's a crucial cooldown. There is actually so much power in that Kalista ulti, getting Taric to safety, getting a stun afterwards, make sure the ulti can go off without him dying. Team Liquid, are they sequestered off? They are pushed away from mid lane. They got to take the long way around. Broxah, the only one who can defend this wave, but FlyQuest going to play it defensively enough. They're not going to go for turret damage. A little bit afraid of what engage might have been found. So instead, they're going to walk into top jungle. They'll find a small bit of a mini wave if Solo wants it.
Oh, and this could be a pick here. Scatter in Fog of War.
Trinket burns, stun found in the core, ultied backward, double knock up there, and that's gonna have to be at least one kill. Not quite a second. Taric crucially hits onto 4. Is the re-engage good enough though? The health bars on FlyQuest simply too high. It's the 1 for nothing, but the jungler crucially the kill.
Yeah, and that was all about the vision setup from FlyQuest. They had pink wards everywhere in this area, 4 sitting in this jungle. TL had no idea, are they already on the Baron? But instead, IgNar had wrapped behind them. PowerOfEvil starts it off with a scatter, and TL now, desperation mode. They're looking to try to steal, but Jensen does have a smite. If they could get vision, Jensen could potentially try to steal this.
Solo is going to mark him, the only spot on the team. IgNar forced away by double. The entire team going to disengage, actually, try to take the 5v4, but careful. Drowsy there on the Trundle. Fly feathers, yes indeed. 1 kill plus the Guardian Angel. Double's going to drop here as well. A double kill already picked up. Impact will not find that kill. WildTurtle again on the chase. And a 4 for nothing. Now only Broxah is alive. Team Liquid still on the outside of playoffs looking in. FlyQuest about to secure their second spot.
Yeah, they're looking like they're just going to be able to end the game. Such long res timers on TL. Broxah knows he needs to cut the wave, but everyone of FlyQuest is there guarding it, and I don't think that they're going to have enough time to actually get back up and defend this.
20 seconds at least on respawn timers. Look at the body language. They're ahead of the inhibitor. Now looking for Broxah. He's going to flash away. Can he buy the time? Actually, forces the pillar, burns the stopwatch. They will take the kill. Still 10 on CoreJJ, and you have to believe the next is going to Qual. FlyQuest will be your second team in playoffs. Seed to be determined, but the Bud Light Ace locks FlyQuest into the 2020 spring playoffs. Congratulations. Well played.
Very well played game here from FlyQuest, and TL now falling to 7-10. 4 straight championships in a row. And now their only chance of making playoffs would be beating C9 and hoping that Immortals loses both of their games. And this is just seeming pretty much doomed for TL. FlyQuest are the second team to lock their playoff spot. They're going to be so happy. And on the other side, it's got to be complete devastation for TL. Such incredibly high expectations for them coming into this split, and they just never have been able to make it work.
Well, Team Liquid, if they want a postseason at all, they must defeat the 16-1 Cloud9 tomorrow, and they're going to pray that Dignitas can beat Immortals and that EG can beat Immortals. That is the only road in for Team Liquid anymore, and that seems so unlikely. We'll see if it happens. Either way, we've got more LCS today, so stick around. Golden Guardians is going to take on Counterlogic Gaming. Don't go anywhere.